The Elder Dragons. Enigmatic, beautiful, deadly. They make up the most loved, the most exhilarating, the most fun, at least for the most part, monsters in Monster Hunters. And, well, perhaps most importantly, most signature to them, they make up the most powerful monsters in Monster Hunter. If it commands the untamed fury of nature to level civilizations, well, it gets placed firmly into the Elder Dragon classification. And how could hunting something with that kind of wrath at its fingertips not be, well, simply the best! But today is not about the Elder Dragons. Today is about, well, the rest. The rest that can stand up to them. Indeed, hello, my fellow hunters, and welcome. For today, I want to tell you the top 5 most powerful non-Elder Dragons. How, in all of their cases, arguably, they're more powerful than a lot of the Elder Dragons. Which then does, of course, raise the question, why aren't they not Elder Dragons? What are the guild doing in their weird balloons and their binoculars and their old man notes?
I love the young people.
Old man notes? I don't know. Anyway, well, look, this is generally how the guild classifies Elder Dragons. They kind of go by 3 rough categories. Number 1, if it doesn't fit into an existing classification. So it's not like obviously a Brute Wyvern or obviously a Leviathan. Or if it is obviously the classic Elder Dragon, the 4 legs, 2 wings, the Teostra general frame. Number 2, it has overwhelming destructive power. And that one is very self-explanatory. And number 3, it's incredibly rare, and or what it is or what it does is quite mysterious or unresearched or unexplainable or enigmatic. So, if a monster that is quite clearly a Leviathan, hello Amatsu, the qualifications of 2 and 3, that's enough to make it an Elder Dragon despite being a Leviathan. The same with Dalamadur. So, sadly, or perhaps not sadly, as I think it makes them more unique, as let's be honest, a non-Elder Dragon, a normal Wyvern of any given type, or any other subtype of monster, rising up to those levels, being able to not only take on but beat the Elder Dragons, to pose a threat greater than these supposed ultimate creatures, beasts of legend, I think is really special. It's magical. It's kind of a real badge of honor, you know. It's cool. When you see a Devil Joe rampaging through as just big angry green T-Rex, it's obviously a Brute Wyvern. Its overwhelming destructive power isn't that high. It's not that rare. It's just fucking strong and mental. And Elder Dragons and other Elder Dragons still don't deal well against fucking strong and mental T-Rex. So while he might be a Brute Wyvern, he can roll over the Elder Dragons if he's got the mind to. And let's be honest, Devil Joe always has the mind to, but more on him later. In any case, the monsters on this list then are all very much, well, clearly classifiable, and therefore don't get that Elder Dragon mantle. But without further ado then, let's actually delve into this. And I should say at this point that I am of course excluding subspecies, rare species, deviants, and everything else there within. I'm looking at base monsters here, how they are in their natural, born form, nothing augmented, nothing enhanced, nothing rare, nothing changed. Otherwise this list would just be like 4 deviants and a variant, which means Raging Brachydios. I'm so sorry. You'll always be the most powerful in my heart. Oh. So yeah, base monsters only is, you know, that's actually interesting. It's not interesting that a Bloodbath Diablos is more powerful than an Elder Dragon because, like, duh, of course he is. Anyway then, at number 5 is perhaps a little bit of a cheat of a choice, but it's also not wrong. It's Gore Magala. Now, Gore Magala himself isn't too powerful powerful. He's really not. He's not the physically strongest. His actual frenzy, like onslaught itself and the explosions and how he wields it, isn't the most dangerous in a physical sense. He's not that actually, well, dangerous to encounter for a lot of monsters. But of course he is the master, or at least the apprentice, of the Frenzy Virus. And the Frenzy Virus is ecosystem-threateningly destructive, turning monster after monster after monster in a horrific chain of zombie-esque dominoes into bloodthirsty, mindless killing machines, and eventually food for Gormagala to turn into a Shagaroo-Magala, which is then an even larger radius of complete wasteland devoid of life. So, you know, it might be, for example, an innocent puppy dog, but if that innocent puppy dog had a vial of the most dangerous virus known to man, and if it was ever to be released, all of humanity would go extinct tied to its collar, we'd probably consider that puppy pretty dangerous.
Fuck! Good boy.
And in this case, yeah, easily Elder Dragon threat, if not himself capable of fighting an Elder Dragon, because Elder Dragons are immune to frenzy, and, well, they would also dominate him in most other categories, but it's hard to ignore that as a creature, he is certainly up there with the tippy-toppiest of, oh my god, no, that would come out of the guild if it was spotted. Moving on then to number 4, this one is an interesting one, a difficult one, you could say. I have gone with Rajang. And why I say I have gone with, well, that's because I have gone with Rajang over the Devil Joe and Basil. Now, these three are implied through turf wars, through gameplay, through word of mouth, to be, well, of equivalent power. The Elder Dragon tier invaders. It's kind of their niche, right? Rajang and Devil Joe always held it. Basil got to join them in Monster Hunter World. But look, Basil, I think, is definitely the weakest of the three, and we really don't have a good idea of how he would stack up properly against Elder Dragons. Rajang and Devil Joe at least get turf wars with them, or at least their stronger forms do, and through that we can kinda see them fairly even. We know that they are exceptionally powerful. I don't need to express to you how much the World Eater is a problem, and how much on pure physical strength and unending mind-boggling savage will he could run through the likes of, again, to keep bringing him up as my standard Elder Dragon example, Teostra. The same with Rajang. Strength to size ratio, Rajang is the strongest monster in all of Monster Hunter. He is like the ant of the Monster Hunters, in that they're like 10 times their body weight type shit. You know what I'm saying. A is unbelievably powerful, and a punch from him, no matter if you're an Elder Dragon or not, you are still flesh, blood, and bone, and that flesh is, well, being shredded, that bone is snapped, and that blood is smeared on the floor. For me, I do give the edge to Rajang, because his base, just normal Rajang, was turf warring and holding his own and really posing an issue to Elder Dragons, whereas it took Savage Devil Joe to start getting the equivalent ones in Iceborne with the beam battles. I also has the fact that Rajang literally hunts Kirin and therefore is empirically already provably factually stronger than at least one Elder Dragon. And not to mention that Devil Joe with Dragon is an incredibly effective weapon against the Elder Dragons, and Rajang's Thunder is no slouch in that department too. They just have some serious points in the attack stat, and that is enough to threaten any Elder Dragon, even if the rest of them is nowhere near as well-rounded. They are dangerous. In at number 3 then is Shen-Garen. I've got a big bag of crabs here.
Hello.
How could it not be? Size counts for a lot when it comes to animals fighting, and Shen-Garen is a siege crab based on a spider crab who already look kinda horrific, but I also think they're badass. He is massive, a Lao Shang Lung shell on his back, and he is just overwhelming. He doesn't have anything too tricky, he's just big. He's got big claws that slam, he's got big legs that stomp, and he can fire big old weird rear mucus explosive balls. And I don't need to really reiterate that sentence, but I never thought I'd be in my life where I have to actually say rear explosive mucus balls, but he can, or more specifically, it's a ball of acid which really does corrode, well, most things it hits very, very quickly. Now, they're not too aggressive, they're fairly calm, they're almost gentle giants just moving along living a crab life. But when you're that large of a monster, even if you're facing something of Elder Dragon strength, you can kind of just land on it. You can just fall on it. You can just sit on it, and that's going to probably break every bone in its body. And it cannot be dismissed, and neither can the actual armor of the Shengaren. It is ironclad. It's only weak at its back half, but that's surrounded by a Laosheng Lung Skull, which is also one of the hardest things to penetrate, full stop. Essentially, what this comes down to is just, he is such a big crab that's going to be tough for any given monster that isn't also as big. And you can't really deny that to be the case, so Shengaren is definitely up there as one of the 5 monsters that are easily Elder Dragon level, and honestly, upper Elder Dragon level, just through sheer size alone. Then we get to the big boys. Well, the big boys because they're big in power, but also they're quite big as well. And anyway, here you go.
I'm Akantor, and I can't go through your armor, so be sure you wanna step to Akantor, who's known for a total war. I'm the Black God, snap a gravios, roar away a Tigrex. Your next get wrecked, I expect this'll be your loss. Fuck Ukanlos. What? Frozen cold, blizzards and ice, I put you on a cart thrice. I'm Ukanlos, the white god, coming for you like a shark do. I'm Ukanlos, I'm the boss, leaving you sore, fuck a Cantor. What?
Oh yes, the white god, the black god, Ukanlos and a Cantor, the flying wyverns that they are. I believe I can fly. They are, well, serious business. Akantor, the Supremacy Wyvern, the Infernal Black God, Ukanlos, the Tyrant of Ice, the White God, the Avalanche Wyvern. Why they are flying wyverns, I don't know. They fit most similarly to the pseudos in Tigrex and Nagakuga, etc., but of course they lack the wing arms. Honestly, these guys should really be Elder Dragons, kind of honestly, but the fact that they're not, as I said at the beginning, just makes them that much cooler. They are overwhelmingly physically powerful, able to make absolute shredded mincemeat of monsters that also, you know, in of themselves, are baseline really strong. And that is, well, impressive to say the least. They're both capable of wiping out entire villages. They're both severe red alert threats if spotted by the guild. There was an old legend that they would work together one day and destroy everything as we know it. But of course, that's never happened. Ukanlos is happy at home in his icy, wonderland, and Akantor goes everywhere but there. Though if those two were ever to fight, God, imagine that turf war. But past their overwhelming physical might, I mean, Akantor's sound-based destruction beam is enough to immediately render you deaf ears, bleeding brain mush, and down you go. And Ukanlos' command of ice is bone-chillingly, crushingly, fearsome. He and Cantor can really get the job done, and, well, you get an Elder Dragon in those Akantor jaws, and they, along with some of the strongest bite force in all of Monster Hunter, are going to go snap. There really isn't much to say against these two. They have the size advantage, they have the defense advantage with near unrivaled plating, they have a, range/elemental advantage, they have the aggression, the willpower, the determination to royally screw anything's day that comes close, and that includes Elder Dragons. They are up there with the upper echelons. You have to get to stuff, like Amatsu, like Nakakos, like Naur and Ibushi before you start to have a clear match that is outmatching them. But in terms of Chameleos, Teostra, Kushala, that kind of entry-level Elder Dragon, they would pale in comparison to these two. They're not just Elder Dragon level, they are comfortably above probably half the Elder Dragon roster. They are just ultimate predators, creatures, animals in their own rights, and they deserve some serious respect. But The others you could kind of rearrange however you see fit, but I think it is clear that the number one most powerful non-Elder Dragon monster that is a base species monster is undeniably yes, Ahtal. How could it not be? In pure mantis form, she would still be up there, probably in the top 5, at minimum in the top sort of 7, 8 or so. The Dragonator Onslaught is one of the single strongest attacks in all of Monster Hunter. How many monsters do you know that could survive having about 10 Dragonators thrown at them at once? Yeah, that's kind of the, well, I win button when it comes to an inter-monster fight. But other than the actual mantis shenanigans, of course we have to look at Ahtal Nesto. Now, Ahtal is just a Neopteran, classified as such because it's quite clearly a bug, fits into the insect category, so despite having the other qualifications for an Elder Dragon, did not get, well, that official title. And because of that, well, is just ridiculous for a non-Elder. Once she gets in that mech, once Ahtal Nesto is born, that is one of the strongest threats in all of Monster Hunter, capable of destroying an entire guild bastion fortress by itself and stealing anything that she finds that she has an eye for inside, wiping out armies, could go toe-to-toe with Gogmazios, which is one of the most wonderful things that I want to see, my Gog! But, look, do I need to explain this one? She becomes an absolutely massive mech, armor-plated, piloted, and just filled with iron fury. How many monsters do you know that could stand up to that? Never mind the Elder Dragons that are about the 10th of the size, firing what is now pathetic elemental attacks that just disperse against the lifeless steel covering the inner thread workings. Yes, a lot of flame-based Elder Dragons could get to the thread, weaken it, melt it, crumble the Ahtal Nesto, of course. But in terms of overall might, Ahtal, along with Ahtal Nesto, compared to what she can do, compared to what most Elder Dragons can do, she's probably in the top just 30 full stop strongest monsters in all of Monster Hunter. Never mind just Elder Dragons. It's kind of insane that she didn't get Elder Dragon even just on power alone, despite being clearly a Neopteron. She is just lunacy, and I think it will be a long time before we see a non-Elder Dragon have that kind of power that she boasts, at least in her home base with all her strings set up and Ahtal Nesto ready to go. It really is something special. So there you go, guys. I know I didn't go into too detail of each monster, but the thing is, there are 5 very famous, very well known, you've been carted by them countless times monsters, and I feel like as soon as all of them came up, you basically went, oh yeah, that makes sense, fair enough. Like, it's a bit of fun, but this is, well, I mean, represented in gameplay, in lore, these are the 5. But for now, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more. I will see you soon. Please, well, let me know your own thoughts, or if you think someone else should be on this list that I may have overlooked. I would love to hear your thoughts below. But yes, please consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. It really does keep us going, and it means the world. Until we meet again then, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.